Hello traders, in today's video I am going to be showing you guys different strategies that we can use in combination with Binance Sentiment to have the most profits possible with the lowest drawdown. And before I talk about today's video, my Delta Neutral course will continue to be discounted until May 15th. If you want to pick up the Delta Neutral course, now would probably be the time, or at least some time before May 15th. If it already is May 15th by the time you're watching it, the course is still active and you can still get it, but there's not the 20% discount. With that, let's get into the video. All right, traders, my face isn't in this one because I want to show you guys all of my screen to make sure that we all understand what's going on here. Today's video, we are going to be looking at 3 indicators on the 5-minute on Binance Futures. First of all, if you want to get this indicator, go to trdr.io/console, then go search any Binance Futures asset. So that could be BTC USD Binance Futures, or it could be, NEO USDT. Make sure to always click Binance Futures. Then after that, you need to go to indicators and get to long shorts. After you do that, you can then optimize this indicator to be whatever you want it to be. We can have total trader, we can have top trader positions, we can have different kinds of styles like long shorts, or we can have a ratio. I prefer to use the ratio, and what this ratio represents, guys, is of all trading accounts on Binance Futures, for every one short, how many longs are there? So if this is a value, which it currently is at about 1.14, that means for every one short, there are 1.14 longs, meaning that by my math, for every 100 short accounts, there are 114 long accounts. Okay? Now, what we always want to do is look at this relatively when we look at Binance Futures Sentiment, and we also want to compare it against top trader positions. So let me show you guys how to do that. We're actually going to pull up one more guy here. Perfect. So I am going to do ratio. Okay, and no, I'm not going to do that guy. And I'm going to do this as top trader positions. Perfect. So now we can actually see top trader positions and the total sentiment. Now I see here that the top trader positions are really selling off, and the long shorts aren't really doing anything at all. Back here, the last time that they really sold off, we can see that the price just did nothing, then it eventually fell. But we don't want to just look at sentiment by looking at the total versus the top trader positions. We also want to look at the order depth, which is here in green and red. And we also want to look at market buy and market sell volume. So let me walk you guys through a example trade that would have been a very optimal trade to have taken. What we see here is consolidation, and then we begin to see some strong bidding. Okay, that's 1 out of 4 criteria that we're looking for. 2, I begin to see some decent market buying around here. So that's looking like the buyers might be taking control. That's 2 out of 4. 3, I can see that the Binance Sentiment has fallen quite a bit until we've gotten to this point here. It's actually quite lower than it normally is relatively. And finally, I can see that right here that the, the top trader positions aren't really moving. That's more neutral. That's not exactly good or bad. It's more just a neutral factor. And we can see that 3 out of 4 indicators are in confluence. And what ended up happening due to all this is price rose about 2.53%. After price rises, what we have happen is I see an increase. This is the best signal here, so focus on this. I see an increase in total positions, but I see a decrease in top traders. So the top 20% of traders reduce their longs and enter into more shorts, and I can see that what actually ends up happening with the overall crowd is they start buying. This kind of divergence is pretty strong, and it's going to tell me that we're probably not going to be going much higher. And price did fall. And as price fell, we can see that these total positions began to just continue to climb up. They just continue to buy it up no matter where the price was. But what did the top guys do? Well, when price fell, then all of a sudden the top traders bought. You can see right here, right at the bottom. And this was a pretty strong sign of a local bottom here, right? We have strong bidding. We see some market buying come in at that very moment. We also see the top trader positions goes up a decent amount, and it looks like that the total is slightly increasing, which is typically bearish, but looking at the other factors, this just looked more bullish than normal, and price rises. But something interesting to note is look what happens after price rises. They sell off. So what this is indicating to me pretty clearly. Look at this line right here. It looks like a lot of, or at least one or two, or a multitude of top traders went long there, went long right about here during the end of that fall. And then after price went right above here, and price is about 1% higher, they sold off. You can see that here. And retail, the total accounts didn't really change much, but this is more painting a story that I can actually follow and profit from. So here was probably a good time to exit your position. Why I say that is mainly because top traders just exited so rapidly, right? Now here we can see that there has been a slowly steady move down in the top trader positions, which is telling me that the top traders aren't really confident in price rising. That doesn't mean that price won't rise, but it means that the top traders believe that the price is more likely to fall, right? Right there. What I want to see is if I'm going to short or if I'm going to sell out of longs, I'd love to see the long shorts total increase. I'd want to see a lot more offers, meaning that there's red above price and not green. I'd want to see more market selling as well. Because it's important to look at the triple threat in confluence. Sentiment, i.e. what are other people doing? Volume, i.e. how much are they really doing it, into how much strength are they doing it? And order depth, how badly do they want to? If that analogy makes sense to you guys, which I hope it does, these are unexecuted orders, these are executed orders, and these are the overall combination of how those execute orders have impacted people, both longs and shorts. And another thing that we could add to this as well is, I believe, open interest. That is something you could add to see really how many people are actually in these positions if you do want to get even more technical. But for right now, I think that this is a pretty powerful setup, looking at the divergence between these, looking at bids and offers, and also looking at market buying and market selling. Identifying when this is very, very low and probably a good buying opportunity, and identifying when it's relatively high and probably a pretty good selling opportunity, as you can see there. Now let's go look at another coin, because Bitcoin isn't everything, even though sometimes it feels like it. Let's go look at NEO. Let's go look at NEO on Binance Futures. We're going to see what are the top guys doing on NEO and what is the overall crowd doing on NEO, right? So there's a lot going on here. I would say that typically the Bitcoin sentiment is a lot more clear. But what I love to watch in the top trader positions of any of these altcoins is how this can fluctuate and then go back to baseline. What that typically tells me is if when this goes boom, and then it goes back to boom here, what that typically tells me is that one very large position bought and then completely sold. I don't know this for a fact. Of course, it's very hard to, but this is telling me this is more of a sign of a whale, this kind of movement here. Because we begin here, guys, at about 1.11. I think we can all agree. We go up, awesome. We stay here. After this rise, this guy rises to 1.156. We then fall right back to around 1.11. 1.1. So this is interesting. Now let's go actually see where did these things happen. I'm going to use a vertical line to show you right when this guy entered. You can see that here. A very large bullish position was established here. A very large long was added, or a very large short was exited, as you can see right here. So let's just say that a long was added. And if we want to be very technical, we can do this, open interest. And I can see if open interest changed magnificently. It didn't really, so open interest isn't telling me anything. That could mean a lot of things, but that's not really telling me what I wanted to know. But more importantly, a large buyer enters here, and then look where he exits. He exits right there near a market top. So by buying here and selling here, this guy, this woman, or this bot clears a 2.3% profit. Then, not surprisingly, right after this exit, the price just dumps. This is looking like a whale type kind of movement, and it's not just NEO that you will see this on. This kind of large increase then large decrease, or the opposite, a large short entering then a large short exiting can happen as well. I'm going to decipher one last one of these whale movements because I think that these can be another thing that you can profit on pretty well. We begin at about 1.115. We then fall down to about 1.072 in top trader positions. I'm going to show a vertical line where this person shorted. They shorted here. They then probably exited here, as you can see. So sold, bought. This is a nice profit, as you can see there, when they did that. So what would be a sign? What would be a sign of this? Well, when you see the top trader positions increase or decrease dramatically, that should alert you. This was a pretty good sign for me that the price was probably going to fall. Why do I say that? Well, we can see that the total long shorts is a little bit higher than usual. Good sign for price falling, of course. Market volume is telling me absolutely nothing. There's nothing going on here. The bids are looking a little bit strong, but not really very, very strong. They kind of come and go. And this is really, 90% of the reason why you probably want to take that short is here. Now, admittedly, buying here probably would not have been the greatest spot to buy, but it would have been a good spot to exit, shorting here, then exiting here. And let me go look on one last coin. I know that I said, oh, that was my last one. But let's go look on one last one. I don't know how liquid this one is, so we might not see that kind of whale movement, but we can check. So let's go look at the top trader positions here. Yeah, this kind of movement is typically not a sign of something that's very, very liquid. But, we can check anyway. So it looks like what happened here is potentially this was a large short that was added. And then whatever happened here, this was either A, a very large short exiting, or B, this was a very large long entering. So this would have been actually the price where you'd probably want to buy right here. And had you bought there, price does rise. And if you had seen this large drop in top positions, that might have not been a terrible spot to have shorted. You could short here, and if you had covered or exited your short here, you would have been in profit. So large dramatic fall in a lot of other traders, in top trader positions, good time to short. Then we can see that this increases, and that could have been a place to have covered. All right, guys, this has been an episode on whale movements. I hope that this was helpful. This is going to be more of a strategy I think you can use on altcoins, because I find that Bitcoin sentiment, as I've said, has been more straightforward, but there's a different kind of reading that you can do for altcoins, which is kind of like this, which is diagnosing where large whales are entering and exiting, and then using that to your own advantage. When you see a massive spike like that, that might be just one or two traders that are quite large, which could actually be a sign of a time to buy. And then when you see a large exit that looks like it fell right back to where it was before, that could be the large whale exiting. Typically, you're going to want to use top trader positions and not the long shorts total. But we can also see those kinds of movements here as well, where someone bought here and they sold there. With that, that's going to be it for this video. I hope that this was helpful. And if it was, private message me, or you can also pick up the Delta Neutral course and learn how to make some passive income alongside your speculative income from strategies like this. Happy trading.